confess there's nobody like Jesus? Can I get somebody to holler, nobody greater? Nobody greater. So we're learning, and Mary shows us not only do we have to consecrate, but the next thing we have to do is communicate. Somebody said communicate. Communicate is to share information, to make known, to be understood, to converse with. You with him, and then him with you. The Bible says she heard his word. She listened to what he said. Mary was showing us that there is a time to work and there is a time to listen. It's called communicate. It's a two-way street. Most folks' problem is that they do all the talking. Usually our version of communicating with God is, God, stop by here. Usually our communication is, God, could you bring me this? Our communication is, God, you complaining about all what's going on in your life and what's not right. But communication is a two-way street. So Mary listened to what he said. During your time here, I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen to what he's saying. It doesn't matter how thoroughly planned your day is. If I was you, I'd take some time to listen to what he's saying. You need to hear from God. Hearing from God will determine whether or not you take Lakeshore Drive or the dead run. Hearing from God is what stopped you when you was looking for your keys and couldn't find them for 10 minutes. Only to find out that you missed that accident just by 10 minutes. Y'all ain't saying nothing. You need to hear from God. You see, during your times of consecration, you will develop a relationship with a respect for and a recognition of the Lord. Till even in a room full of people, you'll be able to still hear that still small voice. You know that still small voice. Some of y'all call them my conscience. Some say my first mind. Some say something told me. But lean over and tell your neighbor, it's the Lord. All day he's speaking. God is constantly speaking. When the sun shines, that's him speaking. When he's speaking, you need to pay attention. He's speaking all day long. When the birds are chirping, that's him speaking. My grandmama used to tell us when there's thunder and lightning outside, turn off all the lights. Get somewhere and sound, because it's the Lord speaking. Somebody ought to say God is speaking. I heard Bishop Jake say in his word a long time ago that it's good to know his voice. It's good to know his word, but it's even better to know his voice. Abraham got the word that he was supposed to use Isaac as a sacrifice. And just as he was about to take his son out, he heard the voice. The voice said, stay your hand, because over there is a ram in the bush. I want to know what would have happened if he only knew the word and didn't hear his voice. He knew his voice because somewhere along the line, Abraham was able to consecrate, and then there was a line of communication. You see, Mary had read about Abraham and Isaac, and she knew about the 3 Hebrew boys. And she remembered that Jesus had turned water into wine. And he healed Peter's mother-in-law, and a man with leprosy, and a paralyzed man, and a man with a withered hand. So when it came time to listen to what Jesus had said, she sat down at his feet and listened to his word. The Bible says that Martha, on the other hand, was distracted by everything that she had to do. I said, that's the devil's job. His job is to distract you. His job is to detain you. His job is to deceive and decrease you. His job is to defer and degrade you. His job is to demote and discredit you. His job is to deny you of your destiny. But when you communicate with Jesus, somebody say communicate. He'll show you where the pitfalls are. When you communicate with Jesus, he'll guide you around every pothole. When you communicate with Jesus, even in a storm, he'll lead you beside the still waters for his you with things to do. And he'll try to distract you with places that you gotta go. He'll even try to distract you with people that you need to see. But you sometimes gotta steal away and pray. I heard my grandmama say that just a little talk with Jesus will make everything all right. You gotta have some time to communicate with him. So Mary served up, but Martha sat down. Martha labored, but Mary listened. She took time to consecrate, and then she took time to communicate. The Bible goes on to say how Martha threw a tantrum. She got jealous at all the attention that Jesus was giving Mary. So in other words, her sister girl kicked in. Wait a minute now, Jesus. Now, we both designed together, Jesus, to have you and the disciples' meal over to the house. Look like to me, I'm doing all the work. She called herself gonna tell on Mary, trying to get her in trouble. You know how we do. The same thing happens today. Somebody get upset and frustrated with you, Sister Gwen, because you got it going on and they still struggling. They're going to throw a tantrum. Somebody is jealous because you got on that suit and they thought that they wanted it and couldn't buy it. Come on, tell the truth. Somebody is jealous because while all hell is breaking loose around them, you still look like you got peace. Somebody needs to tell the truth in the house. While they're trying to figure you out, they're trying to figure out, now I know I'm mad at her, she's supposed to be mad at me, but why she smiling? They mad and can't see why you got the job that they applied for. And they can't figure out why both of y'all was hanging out together and they didn't graduate and you did. They trying to figure out if both of us was getting drunk together, why are you sick and I ain't? Come on, somebody. We make the same thing and both of us on the same job. How you didn't get cirrhosis and we both drunk together? But somebody in this place needs to recognize who they are. Need to recognize that they are favored by God. Get in somebody's face and tell them, don't hate because I got it like this. Now y'all need to do it like you know who you are. You need to do it like you got an attitude. Get in their face and don't hate because I got it like this. Luke says in order to be married in Martha's world, you first got to consecrate, which means to set apart for worship. Then you got to communicate, not just talking, but also listening. And then the last thing you got to do is choose. Somebody say choose. Jesus told Martha, you know what, you majoring on minor things. You need to keep the main thing, the main thing. You need to be like Mary and choose the good part. You got to decide what's more important. Is it work or is it worship? You got to decide, is it your routine or your relationship? Somebody in this room has got to make a decision. Is it going to be your meeting or your ministry? Is it going to be your job or is it Jesus? Is it going to be your family or is it your faith? Is it going to be your gift or is it going to be the giver? The Bible says, choose ye this day whom you will serve. Look, you can gain the whole wide world, but I choose Jesus. Now, before I go any further, I just want to ask one simple question. Has there anybody in this place ever chose Jesus? I said, is there anybody in this place that ever chose Jesus? Just choose Jesus, and you will have everything you need. You can have worldly acclaim, but I am happy with Jesus alone. You gotta choose Jesus. And I'm telling you this day,